The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian, a novel by Sherman Alexie, with art by Ellen Forney. Best-selling Indigenous author Sherman Alexie tells the story of Arthur Spirit, aka Junior, a budding cartoonist with a very sharp intellect, a hilarious sense of humor, and a variety of medical issues, growing up in poverty on the Spokane Indian Reservation. When we first meet Junior, he's doing okay on the reservation, living the life he was meant to live, when one day at school, he just snaps. Junior is smart, really smart, and one day he finds his mother's maiden name in an old, junky geometry book that she used 30 years ago, and out of sheer frustration at the lack of resources available to schools on the reservation, he lobs the book at his teacher's face. Strangely, the teacher doesn't get angry. Instead, he sits Junior down and tells him some hard truths about what life looks like to someone who never leaves the reservation. It would be in his best interest that he leave. Somehow, some way, he's got to get away and make something of himself. Against the odds and determined to take his future into his own hands, Junior makes the decision to leave his school on the res and enroll in an all-white high school in town. Junior's no fool. He's perfectly aware that leaving the res and going to Reardon will be seen as some kind of betrayal to his friends, his neighbors, and his tribe. Reardon is rich. Reardon is white. Reardon is 20 miles away, and the only other remotely Indigenous personage is the school mascot. Joining Reardon means that Junior needs to find out what he wants from the world, what he needs from his family, and what he should do with his life. Aside from being very, very smart, Junior is also a gifted cartoonist, and he explains that if you speak and write in English or Spanish or Chinese or any other language, then only a certain percentage of human beings will get your meaning. But when you draw a picture, everybody can understand it. Luckily for the reader, Junior's cartoons are liberally sprinkled through the narrative, adding to the humor, adding to the underlying playfulness of the story and the significance of his observations on life on and off the res. As for the writing, it's top-notch. Sherman Alexie uses humor to deal with some very heavy issues like racism, bullying, addiction, poverty, death, and hopelessness. The kind of subject matter that could easily get very dark very quickly. But Alexie can deliver a one-liner like a feather-light knockout punch, and I laughed and laughed, even as tears are rolling down my cheeks. As Junior is telling his story, he's very realistic about his situation. He's very open when discussing the realities of the poverty and alcoholism in his family and his tribe, but you never get the sense that he feels unloved or unsupported by his family members. As he gains acceptance from his new peers, he approaches every new situation with courage, wit, and resilience. He never forgets where he came from, and he holds out hopes for a reconciliation with his best friend Rowdy and his tribe, right until the very end. Heartbreaking, funny, beautifully written, The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian, which is based on author Sherman Alexie's own experiences, coupled with the equally poignant and hilarious drawings by Ellen Forney. This excellent book chronicles that contemporary adolescence of one Indigenous American boy as he attempts to break away from the life he was destined to live so that he can live the life that he chooses. This book is available on Cloud Library as an e-book as well as a physical book,